The Horseshoe Curve is an amazing surveying and engineering feat. It takes long, heavy trains around a 180-plus degree rotation down or up the Allegheny Mountains. The curve was built to connect central Pennsylvanian towns. It was built in the 1850s to transport people and goods across the Allegheny Mountains. Before the curve was built, a complicated system of railroads, canals, and incline systems were the way over these mountains. This prior transport was an expensive and time-consuming way of moving goods across the mountains. The curve was built completely by hand, with picks, shovels, horses, and maybe some explosives. Years later, in 1879, a viewing platform for observing the trains was built, the first of its kind. It has been a tourist attraction since then, and in the 1990s, a visitor center was built with more info about the history of the curve. From its introduction around the Second World War, there was a passenger station right near the curve. At the start of the 1900s, the curve became even more important because coal mining for electric fuel started. To this day, it still transports thousands of tons of coal per year. During the Second World War, the curve was used to transport people and resources for the war effort. It even had armed guards guarding it. The Nazis sent spies to try to disrupt it and other American infrastructure. The curve was, however, damaged, though. The spies were arrested and most were executed. Throughout the post-war era, Pennsylvania Railroad, Penn Central, and Conrail all owned the tracks on the curve. But however, the curve now belongs to Norfolk Southern, acquired by them in 1999. In 2004, the curve received National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark status. That's a mouthful. Derailments on the curve are not unknown. Last year in 2019, 2 trains derailed in the month of July. Common cause of derailments is unequal distribution of weight. The only way to see the curve from the tracks is by taking an Amtrak train called the Pennsylvanian that goes across the curve once a day each way. It goes from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia to New York. It'll run you about $65 one way. Or you could take the dangerous route and hitchhike on a freight train for free. Freight trains carrying almost anything have been spotted on the curve, but coal is very common for the trains to carry since coal mining is a major industry of central Pennsylvania. You can see a few trains per hour if you visit the curve. Some of the trains that run by can be more than 12,000 feet long. That's more than 2 miles, and there can be over 100 trains per day. However, the standard is somewhere between 60 and 90. The curve is the most traveled part of the Norfolk Southern Railroad network, with almost all west to east coast freight passing through it. In order for some longer and therefore heavier trains to make it up and down the mountain, locomotives must be added to the end of the train to provide extra power or braking. This is common around trains navigating around high inclines. The Horseshoe Curve is an amazing feat of American engineering, especially for the 1800s, 170 years ago. And here's to 170 more. If you like this content and want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.
I hear it. I hear it. Oh, yeah.
Let's see it.
We're going to crash right into it if we're not careful. Do you think? Here it comes. Here, look at the very front of it. Timing. I don't believe it. Timing is truly everything. All right, this way, guys. Okay, guys, let's go. Come on. Oh, yeah. This is brainwashing at perfection. Brainwashing at its best. Sammy, I'm filming it. Just watch it. I'm filming it so you don't have